before that, actually, I also went to ITB. Yeah, ITB for just only for 3 months, and after that, I have been dropped out from the ITB, and then I got scholarship actually in Japan, and I started my undergraduate from 2000s, and I got my PhD in 2008. So I did my undergraduate, graduate, and PhD in 8 years. And then I worked for the company for 1 year, and then after that I returned back to the academia in Tokyo University as postdoctoral. And then 2011 I moved to Tokyo Institute of Technology as assistant professor, and 2015 I got my associate positions. Okay, today I would like to talk about the several discussions. Maybe it is not so not so relaxing thing. So if you would like to sleep down, so just please sleep down. So maybe I would like to discuss some several technical things. Okay, because my expertise is on energy systems engineering. My background is mechanical engineering. And now what I'm doing now is that related to energy systems, especially in Japan, also in international or in the globe, for the global issue. And actually also I have project in Japan, Indonesia, and also in several European countries. Maybe I will tell you later. So today, because also my boss is maybe some of Japanese colleagues know Kashiwagi Takao. He is a policymaker related to energy issue in Japan. And today I would like to talk about the sustainability issues in the energy systems, especially in some related technologies in the futures. So actually I would like to talk about 4 main issues. The first is related to like what we talk about the green energy systems. It is like the carbonizations or utilizations of hydrogens. And the second thing is about the carbon captures, storage, and also utilizations. And the third thing is about the utilizations of battery and also electric vehicles in the future. Because what? Because electric vehicles in the future, we figure out, maybe in Japan is, if all of you know that in Japan have 2 fleets. The first is hydrogen-based vehicles, and the second thing is battery-based vehicles, or we can call it as electric vehicle. And actually, but unfortunately, Japanese government, they cannot decide for the futures, for the future vehicles, because as you know that Toyota and also Honda, they stay on hydrogen vehicles, but Nissan and Mitsubishi, they insist on electric vehicles. But like in several countries, like in European, especially in Northern European countries, Scandinavians, including starting from the Netherlands to the Great Britain, actually they are insisting to stop their future electric vehicles. Okay. Actually, this is my issue, my expertise in advanced energy systems. And actually, I just renewed my H index to 20. And okay, so when we are talking about the energy system, actually there are several issues that we always hearing in or listening in our ears. The first is energy conservation. So we would like to conserve, we would like to reduce our energy, or we would like to increase the energy efficiency that we use every day. And the second thing is how to optimize the utilizations of renewable energy, including PV, wind, and hydro, and etc. And the third one is fossil fuel engineering. We would like to reduce the inefficiency when we use the fossil fuels, and also this issue is very strongly related to any kind of decarbonization technology. It means that when we have any fuels with the C or with the carbon, it means that during utilizations we will emit carbon dioxide, right? GHG. So that's why in our issue, in our research, especially, we would like to decarbonize. We would like to convert the carbon-based fuels to any other fuels that doesn't have any kind of carbon, like hydrogens, like ammonia. And okay, the fourth one is nuclear. In nuclear as power generations, actually, in Japan, actually, we now concluded, as my professor said, that until 2030 and 2040, we still keep the ratio of nuclear power generations about 15 to 20%. And fifth, it's diverse energy sources, including the cogeneration systems, whether in Japan and like in Japan, maybe like Germany, they have several diversifications of energy systems. They're all really rich on that. But it's really different in Japan because Japan, we don't have any kind of district heating. So it's quite typical things or different case when we are talking about the energy systems between Japan and also any other countries. And this is about the energy systems in Japan. I think it will be related strongly also with the Indonesian case and also the global issues. Actually, we have seven important issues. The first is energy savings. It is including the production process. It's like in the company, in the plant, in the productions or any kind of things. And the second thing is the structural materials. How the technology of the material can support in this kind of energy savings. And the third one is the battery. The importance of the battery technology is very, very demanded in the future. And the fourth one is the hydrogens, because hydrogens, it means that we will, when we use hydrogens, it means that we emit the water, right? So we doesn't emit any kind of carbon dioxide. And the fifth in the photovoltaic and any kind of other, also other renewable energy sources. And the sixth one is geothermal, and the seventh one is the carbon captures. So actually, in my expertise, we are focusing on 3, 4, 1, and also the 7 points. Actually, we also have projects in Indonesians because we have also several papers also working in the geothermal of Kamojang. Okay, I would like to talk about hydrogens. Like the hydrogens in the future is very important because it is related to the decarbonizations. Okay, and the other things, we have also ammonia. Several people working in Sangsoking, Sangsoking, especially in Fukushima Freya, they are working on ammonia. But unfortunately, when we are dealing with the ammonia, like when we combust the ammonia in quite the high temperature, like 1,500 degrees Celsius or 2,000 degrees Celsius, and that time, there was any kind of thermal NOx. It means that when the combustion temperature is getting high, like higher than starting from 1,400 degrees Celsius, actually we will emit any kind of NOx, which is also GHG. So that's why we are now focusing on the hydrogen technology. But unfortunately, the hydrogen is also, the problem is that it has very low volumetric energy density. It is about only 3 watt-hour per liter. And it's very, very, very small. So it means that when we would like to store and also to transport the hydrogens, we must think it again. I mean, we must think it, we must maybe deliver it in different forms, like in the liquid forms, in the compressed form, on any other compounds. And also, it is prone to leakage. Okay, it is prone to leakage. So it is very difficult to transport hydrogen, like in the pipe, using the pipe. I would like to pass this. And this is several technologies liquid. In Japan, actually, we have 3 main storage and also transportation technologies for hydrogens. The first is liquid hydrogens, toluene. Toluene is developed by, it has been developed actively by Chiyoda corporations under Mitsubishi also, and also the ammonia. It is supported by Kawasaki Heavy Industries. It is supported by Chiyoda Corporation and also Mitsubishi Group. It is supported by Tokyo Gas. Okay. all three companies, they are competing each other. And they would like to make any kind of demonstrations in Tokyo Olympic 2020. And this is the system, like liquid hydrogen. When we produce any kind of we convert the coal to produce hydrogens. And that time, it means the coal is basically carbon. We convert the carbon to hydrogens, and then we capture the carbon, and then we injected the carbon inside the earth. Or maybe we can utilize it to any other purposes. And then in Japan, we can import the carbon-free hydrogens. So in Japan, we can use the carbon, the fuels without any kind of CO2 emissions. Also, same thing with the toluene, but unfortunately in toluene, because we bound the hydrogens in the toluene, we convert it to the MCH or methyl cyclohexane. It means that we need the hydrogenation, also the hydrogenation process to release it. And the third thing is ammonia. But unfortunately, as I mentioned before, that ammonia kills also with the thermal NOx during combustions. And this is the several technologies that are very related to our future's energy systems when we would like to use hydrogens in the futures, when we figure out that the share of the renewable energy is very high. As we know that the renewable energy is fluctuating, it is volatile, right? It is volatile, it is fluctuating. But unfortunately, like our grid, our electricity, we need the balanced electricity, or we need a high quality of electricity to get the good quality of electricity. In electricity, actually, we have two parameters, main parameters. The first is frequency, and the second one is voltage, right? Frequency, like in Japan, we have two different frequencies, 50 and 60 hertz, but unfortunately in Indonesia, we have only 50, right? And when we would like to keep the frequency to be 50, or voltage to be 220, or in Japan, 100, we need to balance between the input and also the output or demand. But unfortunately, in the future, when the share of the renewable energy is increasing significantly, because I have project also in Denmark, in Copenhagen. In Denmark, you can imagine that the share of renewable energy is about 150%. Okay, it can be higher than it is load, right? And it is very fluctuating, right? Especially during the night. Why during the night? Because the load of the electricity in the night is low, but the wind is quite stable, although it is during the night, right? So, in the futures, how to balance this kind of imbalances, or this kind of volatile energy, this kind of fluctuating energy sources. So it means that we can use any kind of hydrogen storage. Okay, we convert the electricity generated from PV, from hydro, or geothermal, and other things to hydrogens, and then we can store hydrogens. We can use hydrogens. Okay, unfortunately in Japan, we don't have any power to gas systems. Like in Germany, they have. They have, it means that, okay, like in the northern Germany, maybe some of you have heard about that in northern Germany, actually they built many power wind generators. But unfortunately, because there's any limitations of the grid electricity, they cannot deliver the electricity from the north to the south, right? So the electricity generated in the north part of Germany, they convert it first to hydrogens, and then they inject the hydrogens to any kind of gas pipeline, right? That's the difference. In Japan, we cannot, right? Why? Because it is quite political also. And it's not political, but it's also technological things. In Germany, they almost imported the gas from Russia, and this directly, without any kind of liquefaction, etc. Right? It means that the tolerance of the gas is quite low or quite wide compared with the in Japan case. Because in Japan, we bring the gas in the liquid form. So it means that it has high purity, right? Okay, okay, I would like to skip this because I have quite several slides that I'd like to show you. And this is the CO2 capture technology. Actually, we also deal with the CO2 capture technology. This technology is also a very important thing, right? Basically, we have three different stage of carbon captures. The first is post combustions. It means that after combustions, after fuel is combusted, we capture the CO2. Or also pre-combustions. It means that we convert the fuel first from the carbon-based fuel to any other things first, and then we combust the hydrogens. It means that during the combustions we don't produce any kind of CO2. Or the third one is oxyfuels. It means that during the combustions we use almost oxygen-rich gas for combusting the carbon-based fuels. So we can produce any kind of rich CO2 gas, and then we can inject it, we can store it, we can capture it, and then we can inject to our earth or and other things. And there are several technologies, but I will not talk in details about this. And actually, we are focusing in the absorption technology and also chemical looping, because chemical looping is quite promising. It has quite high energy efficiency, and also it can produce. Chemical looping we can like adjust the reactor. Actually, we can produce the hydrogens, we can produce any kind of other things like methanol or etc. And this is the technology for the carbon storage, air carbon storage actually, but I will not explain there. And this is about the CO2 utilizations. It's also our concern not to only store the CO2, because CO2 storage also very difficult things. In Japan, we have two demonstration sites, the first in Niigata and the second one in Hokkaido. But now we have actually only in Hokkaido. But the capacity is very limited. So this is not a very easy thing, but it's also very difficult things. Like in Australia also, they have several problems during the storage. And the last one is that I would like to talk about is about the battery and electric vehicles. This is a very important issue, I think, because it deals with our future. As you know, that the price of the battery or the production cost of the battery is very decreasing now. Like, okay, when we discussed with Mitsubishi Motors in 2009, then they will produce any IJEIF, right? The first electric vehicles in Japan before Nissan Leaf. In 2009, they discussed with us that the price of the battery at that time is about 1 kilowatt hour, is about 20 man, is about 200,000 yen for 1 kilowatt hour capacity. But now the price is only about 30,000. So it literally drops about 120 something, 110 something like that. I think 10% actually. So the price will drop. And actually, we have several battery technologies. We have lithium-ion, like in our handphones, smartphones, something like that. But lithium-ion is very dangerous also. So that's why we have several problems for firing, something like that. But also we have any other batteries actually, like lead-acid battery and nickel, mass, and also redox flow. It depends on our utilizations. Like in Hokkaido, on Aomori, actually we have also redox flow. It means like liquid battery, but usually it has quite huge size of the battery. Okay, for the electric vehicles, because we are also dealing with the electric vehicles. although my background is mechanical engineering, but unfortunately now about 30% or 40% of my for the research, we are dealing with the electrical engineering and almost dealing with the electric vehicles. As we know, that electric vehicles has been developed in 1828. Yeah, in 1828, and it has been running. Okay, it is about in 19,000, something like that, 1900 actually. It can run about 105 kilometers per hour. It is very fast, and we can see also the share of the electric vehicles had been larger, higher than any kind of internal combustion engine based vehicles, right? But unfortunately, because at that time, when we would like to charge the battery or the electric vehicles, we need very long time, right? That's the matter. But now, like in Tesla, like Nissan Leaf, like Mitsubishi IJEIF, or any other things, we can charge the electric vehicles in about 30 minutes for the 80% of capacity. But unfortunately, because lithium-ion battery, we cannot charge directly, linearly, we cannot. Otherwise, the battery will be fired, right? Because overcharging. Lithium-ion battery, why there is any fire from the lithium-ion battery? Because we have any overcharging and over dischargings, right? When although our smartphone shows 0% of the battery, it doesn't mean that the battery is out, the electricity is out. No, actually it still has any electricity. If the electricity is really out, it drains out actually completely, the battery will be fired. Okay, this is that we work together with several companies like Nissan and also Mitsubishi corporations, whether in Japan also in other countries. Actually, this is the utilizations of electric vehicles, because we would like to use this battery, their battery, for the energy systems. Okay, and also we would like to create any kind of new business actually. So what we call as the vehicle to grid. So we would like to integrate the electric vehicles in our community, in our society, something like that. We would like to use it for, we would like to control it to assess our electricity grid. So there are several services. The first is frequency regulations. The frequency regulation, it means that when we would like to maintain or keep the frequency to be stable on 50 or 60 hertz, something like that. But unfortunately, because the demand, also the supply are fluctuating each other, so it means that we need any kind of buffer or any kind of power generator that can respond quickly in 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Yeah, it depends on time actually, right? So when we have any kind of battery, the battery is the most responsive power sources or buffer, right? Okay, we can use our power generator, but power generator, like the coal, when we like to start the coal, we need one day for that. When we like to pour the gas, we need for about 30 minutes, the gas power, to be stable, right? But for the battery, we can use it although in 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it can respond quickly. And the second thing is voltage regulations. Voltage regulation, it means that when voltage is dropping or it is increasing, yeah, it's increasing about from like below 200 and also higher than 250, something like that. We can use the EV for that. And also things. It is like leveling. It means that we would like to cut the levelize the peak of the electricity, like because in Indonesia, because we have also peak during the night, evening from the night, from the 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. actually. So we would like to cut, we would like to levelize this peak, and then we move it to any other times after that, and also any other issue actually.
You have another 1 minute maybe.
Thank you. Okay, this is our figures, and this is our project together with Mitsubishi Corporations, Mitsubishi Motors, also in Okazaki, near here, I think. And this is the battery from the electric vehicles, and this is our task actually, that we can move it, levelize the load of the buildings by the electric vehicles. And also we have also project also in Denmark. We are working together with several car manufacturers, including PSA Citroën, Mitsubishi, and also Nuvi, Nissan, and also any other things. And also we have several meetings there. And car, actually like EV, they can communicate bidirectionally. Okay, the battery on by the car can be charged and also discharged. So we control it. So like when we have any 10 million cars, and they are connected, they are parked, they are not being used. Actually, we can control it for supporting the grid actually, and we give incentive, the price for that. So there are several services that I will not, and this is the price of the electricity that we absorb and also we discharge for our cars. It's quite high actually. So we can imagine that in Japan, maybe the price of the electricity is about 24 yen per kilowatt hour. But for this service, maybe we can sell it to, it depends really, it really depends on the conditions of the grid. Maybe we can sell it by 1,000 or 3,000 yen per kilowatt hour. And it doesn't work, okay? And there are some calculations, okay? And Indonesia, actually, now we are working on that. And Indonesia, the potential is also very high, actually, because we have, from here, that actually we have peak and also we have valley over here. And the gap between the peak and also valley is very high. And also we have any frequency fluctuations is very high also. When we use the electric vehicles, actually, this is the impact or the adoptions also penetrations of electric vehicles. In case that we have about 1 million of electric cars in Indonesia, actually, we can actually decrease the gap between the peak and also the non-peak or valley. And it means that we can receive any more better energy, electricity than before. Actually, in Indonesia, we don't have any power storage until now. Okay, PLN would like to build any kind of pump storage, but unfortunately, it is still dreaming. They are still dreaming for that. So, in case that we can adopt electric vehicles and we can control it, yeah, it is really a good potential. We have any good potential for that. And also frequency. You can imagine the frequency in Indonesia is very fluctuating, about 0.4 plus minus. It is very high. In Japan, it's about only 0.03, something like that. You can imagine, about 10 times the deviations, right? It's very high. So it means, because what? Because we don't have any kind of responsive power generator, responsive buffer for the electricity, right? So that's why always like during evening or during the morning, actually, the frequency of our electricity is very, very bad. There are some challenges, barriers actually, but we thinking about the opportunity in the futures. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for Pak Aziz for your